Hello everyone, Xenoglaive here, and today I'm going to be talking about Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, before I get right into this, I'm just going to say that I hope you guys are enjoying my videos recently, and it really helps if you leave a like and subscribe, because it also shows me what type of video content you guys like. Well, let's get on. Well guys, Dragon's Dogma 2 so far has definitely improved in some ways compared to the original, and also went backwards in other ways as well. Example for combat. I'm going to start off with the combat because that is the main focus why everyone comes to Dragon's Dogma. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I got into the first one. It was the combat. Of course, the character designs look great and the monsters look amazing. However, the combat is what really draws you in and what really keeps you going. So, compared to the first one, in the very first Dragon's Dogma, what you could do is you could hold down the left bumper, the top left bumper, the LR button, and you would have a whole set of skills that you can equip, and on the second bumper, the right bumper, you could also have another set of skills. In total, you can have 8 types of skills. Now, this was completely removed for Dragon's Dogma 2, and in that sense, I'm kind of baffled. I don't know why. So, opposed to the 8s, you have 4 that you can equip at all times, and in order to change out the attacks and stuff, you have to go to a campsite and get them reacquainted, or go to your vocation shop and change your equipment and skills that way. Now, one thing that they did get right is the vocations themselves. There are so many to choose from here. I will try to keep it close to the beginning of the game so I don't spoil anything. The original 8 are here, which were warrior, sorcerer, mage, thief, magic archer, and I think the other one was called fighter. Sorry, there were 6, not 8, my bad. And honestly, there have been a few changes compared to the first one, but I digress. There are still amazing vocations. One amazing thing is the fact that you can still switch vocations, so you can never be really bored. In terms of if you're using a mage and you've mastered the class, you've gotten to know the class inside and out, and you get bored, you can honestly switch to a different vocation, where in other games they make you change character completely and also get a class. Now, switching between the vocations is easy. You just have to go to the aforementioned vocation shop and go ahead and switch, which honestly, I love it. I love the combat in this game. You can, on top of the vocations, you can also use the environment to help against enemies. You can throw barrels, you can throw rocks, you can even try to knock enemies into the water and get eaten up by the brine, which is just amazing. Could you imagine you're fighting a griffin, you knock it down, and it goes in the water? I've had instances where a minotaur chases me and it falls off a cliff into the water, and finished, I won. However, the downside to that is that you do not get any of the items that you would have gotten if you actually fought him normally. Anyway, that's it for the combat. Visuals are pretty good. They are definitely a step up from the original, but obviously nothing too fancy or special, though the monster designs and the character designs are really good. Dragon's Dogma 2 has an amazing custom character creation setup, and that alone is one of the best features that I can see here. So in the game, you are the Arisen, and you also have pawns. Pawns being other NPC characters that act just like you in a way. They can fight and learn how to fight battles, beasts, different types of creatures and all that, and they actually do progress. The AI for the pawns is really, really well done. You can recruit different pawns. This game has a little bit of a multiplayer-ish type of system, where if you want to recruit pawns, you have to actually recruit pawns from other players. So each player gets one main pawn, and that pawn gets to go around in the world and try to be recruited by someone else. That's what they call the multiplayer in Dragon's Dogma, which actually is really well done. One elephant in the room would be the monsters. So you have all your classic monsters from some of the monsters being the Cyclops sees a return, ogres are returning, goblins, harpies. What else? They took out the Hydra, unfortunately, but they replaced it with Medusa, which you saw on screen earlier in the game. They definitely added a couple extras, like there's griffins, even though the griffin you could fight in the last one. I haven't seen a cockatrice, but maybe they're not in the game. But after that, I will not mention any of the others. However, there are some instances where people are complaining about reskins of monster designs, and honestly, I don't find them that intrusive or world breaking. It's just, example, if you have a Saurian, which is a lizard, and you can encounter normal ones, you can encounter lava versions, you can encounter rock versions, like thunder versions. There's lots of different types. So people have been complaining that those are just reskins, but in my opinion, it's okay. It's not that bad. It doesn't affect me as well. Yeah. Another big elephant in the room were the microtransactions. People were just flipping out, going absolutely mad over the microtransactions. And I was almost affected by that too. I almost bought into it, but when I actually checked out what was going on, it wasn't that bad. The microtransactions could all be bought in the game, and fairly easy as well. It wasn't intrusive, and there's stuff like port crystals, fairy stones. It's all stuff that you can just buy or find in the world. And honestly, the game does a very good job at getting you to find those items, because I not once needed to buy one, and I didn't spend any other money in this game. It's very rare these days to find a game like that. Next. Exploration in Dragon's Dogma 2 is phenomenal. The open world has really, really opened up this time around. You have new biomes that you didn't see in the old game. You have locations that you don't even have to visit, but if you explore, they look amazing. There's a lot of storytelling inside of the environments as well. And to be quite honest, if you do not explore, you'll be missing out on valuable items, gear, and secret monsters that I will not be mentioning right here, because I'm trying to keep this fairly spoiler-ish, like spoiler-free-ish. Definitely explore the open world, guys. You will not regret it. There's campsites that you can find in order to keep your party going, because in this game you have a system that every time you fight and you actually get knocked down or you get tired, your character loses health, and that health cannot be regained. There's going to be a white bar. That white bar can be regained, but anything else cannot. So the only way to get that back is by sleeping in an inn, sleeping at the house, or campsites. So if you must, you must not ignore the campsites. If you want to go out and explore the whole world to the fullest, not being tied down to the city, you need to remember campsites, and do not forget to get the mini camp sets. Each set is different, and those are a new addition to the game, which I absolutely love, by the way. And yeah, if you hold out on those, you will be finding yourself going back to the cities and traversing familiar locations a lot. You will be tired, because just like in the first game, fast travel is almost non-existent. You can get ox carts to help you travel around the world a bit, but they can be raided, which is kind of cool. Nice little RNG mechanic that they added there. On top of the ox carts, you have fairy stones, but fairy stones, from my experience, there was only 2 places that allowed me to use a fairy stone. Then I had to actually find port crystals and set up my own fairy stone port gates to use those crystals, which was pretty cool. Other than that, let's see. One more thing that has to be mentioned is the dragon itself. The whole reason why the game is named Dragon's Dogma. The dragon itself doesn't really show itself throughout the game. Like in the first one, in the very first game, you did have to see the dragon in a flashback, and then you had another instance with the dragon in present day where he took your heart. Now in this game, you don't really see him as much. You see him once in a flashback, and then you don't see him until the end of the game, basically. Now, that dragon himself, even though you do not see him, you can feel his presence. Every drake that you encounter will start talking to you, and you can immediately feel that you are connected to dragons, that you are still connected to that dragon. And because of that, the threat of the dragon still lingers in your mind, and you can actually feel his presence. You don't see him, but you feel him. Another cool addition to the dragon system is the dragon plague system, which was not there in the first game. What dragon plague is basically you can hire pawns, and each time you hire a pawn, you run a risk of one of them having a plague or a disease, which once it manifests itself, it will wipe out a whole city. All NPCs will be destroyed in that city. Now it's very easy to avoid, but just be careful. If your pawns start glowing, if their eyes start glowing red, that is a pawn that you have to get rid of. Not only that, they don't only contract the disease from being hired from the rift, they can also get it from fighting dragons. If you kill a lot of dragons, there is a high chance that your pawn can be infected. So just keep an eye out for that, because that has made several people lose their games. Anyway, I think this video has been going on for long enough. As you can see, I absolutely love the series. I love the Dragon's Dogma series, and I really think that people should actually try these games. I did not mention the quest styles and systems because they're similar to the first game. It's just fetch quests and escort quests with some fun ones here and there. But yes, guys, do not sleep on this game. It's very fun. It's amazing. And you also have to try out the first one if you can, because if you do try out the first one, you'll understand a little bit better. So yeah, that's my take on this. Dragon's Dogma 2, amazing game. Highly recommend it. Really think you guys should go get it. And if you have any experience with the Dragon's Dogma series, please let me know down below. What was your favorite thing that happened? What was your favorite monster? What vocation do you guys like to play? What vocation do you want your pawns? Anything. Let me know down below. Hope to see you in the next one, and have a good night. Bye-bye.